At this point, I'm basically done with my freshman year of college, but I literally just finished decorating my room. Anyways, I'll be honest, a big reason I'm filming this dorm tour this late in the year is because I want a record of my first ever individual living space. There's just something special about having a place to your own that is not connected to something your parents own. Let me give a quick rundown first. My name is Kai, and I'm a student at Cornell University. Currently, I live in Balch Hall, which is the only all-female freshman dormitory left on North Campus. I've grown to love Balch, but it's nearly 100 years old, and it really shows. Cornell is completely renovating Balch starting next year, so it'll be really interesting to see how the building changes. So this is my room. I'm not gonna lie, it's fairly large for a dorm room. Balch has some weird quirks, and some of the singles here are just huge. Speaking of Balch quirks, I share a sink room with my next door neighbor. It's basically just a tiny room with a sink in it. And honestly, it's really convenient because Balch doesn't have suite style bathrooms. My bed is currently my favorite part of my room, partly because I really love how it's decorated, but also because I usually don't do any schoolwork there. I know the comforter and quilt clash a little, but finding good green and purple shades on a budget is hard. In fact, the quilt is actually from Pillow Fort, which is Target's stylish home collection for kids. It was on clearance for $10, and I couldn't resist. Honestly, I really recommend buying a quilt for your bed. I really love the weight it adds to my covers. The comforter and sheets are also from Target, which will be a common thread throughout my dorm. Ithaca is a tiny, relatively isolated town, and there's not that many stores, so Target is often the best option. I would say Target bedding is generally pretty good quality, especially for the price. Technically, I'm on my second set of sheets, but that's because I cut my first flat sheet up to make a dress. I really like having art on my walls, so whenever I move to a new place, I like to pull together a new collage thing. The artwork I've chosen largely reflects the various shows, movies, and video games I love. Comment down below if you recognize anything. I always love meeting fellow fans. Also, a site with all the original art pieces included will be linked below so you can go check out the other works of these talented artists. Here's my makeshift nightstand. Every other dorm room I've seen in Balch came with a nightstand, but I never had one. I've noticed the furniture in my room is a bit odd. For one, my desk has a giant hole in it. Someone calls it a tea cart, and I think that's such a cute name for it. I display my thrifted teapot and matcha powder on the cart because they're too cute to keep hidden in a closet. On the second level, I have my security blanket folded up. I may be 19, but it still goes everywhere with me. On top of that is a little stuffed dolphin that my boyfriend owned as a child. He's missing an eye. I think one of the dogs got it. Finally, on the last level is just a wicker basket where I keep my chargers, Kindle, Switch, and various other technological stuff. So there's not really much to see here. It's just a rug I have in the middle of my room because there's a lot of empty space and I felt like something needed to be there. It's really fluffy and soft, and I'll usually ditch my bag there when I get back. I don't like hanging my tote bag up anymore because the poor thing is already under enough stress. So this is another one of Balch's many quirks. My room has 2 closets in it. Frankly, it's a little bit ridiculous because this one dorm room has 4 doors in it, but I do appreciate the extra storage space. I will say, I was a little bit spoiled this year. I fold most of my clothes, so the left closet is mostly filled with shoes, shirts, and jackets. The right has my makeup, shirts, pants, face masks, skincare, and a bunch of other random shit. Isn't this bookshelf cute? It honestly looks like dollhouse furniture. I mean, it has hearts carved into it, for goodness sake. At the beginning of the year, I really wanted to decorate the shelf all nicely, but I realized that I'll probably never have a bookshelf again during college. so I didn't want to collect a bunch of knickknacks and have nowhere for them in the future. Yeah, so now I mostly use my shelf for temporary storage. Like, I have my dishes that need to be washed and my half-open bedsheets just hanging out. As for the sparse decorations, I have some of my favorite books, this cute swan ring holder, some faux plants, and a picture of me and my boyfriend. Over to the right is my mini fridge. The fridge rental basically costs the same as buying a mini fridge, so I ended up deciding to buy one. I kind of regret it a little bit now that I have to think about where to store it for the summer, but whatever. I don't know, it's nothing special, but I do like that it's stainless steel. On my fridge, I keep my heavy-ass sewing machine and another pot of faux lavender. I never thought I'd be using a sewing machine as room decor, but this one's pretty cute. This is my favorite feature of my room. The windows are creaky, leaky, and just largely ineffective, but I'm a sucker for Gothic windows. I just think modern windows are really ugly and uninspired. I wish older style windows were more common in modern architecture, but I guess they're just not cost effective. It's honestly a little bittersweet living in Balch right before they're renovating it, because I've had to deal with a lot of the nasty downsides of living in a 92-year-old building, but they're also replacing so many of the things that make Balch to me, including these beautiful windows. But yeah, this is probably the prettiest view I'll ever have from my bedroom, even if the dumpster is right below. So I thought making my desk more aesthetic would help me procrastinate less. The theory wasn't completely wrong, but it also wasn't exactly correct. I really like this area of my room, but it also doesn't make my anxiety around school any better. On the shelf above my desk, I keep a bottle of my favorite lotion. If a random household object is cute, I'll use it as decor because I'm frugal. Continuing in that theme, I have an unused water bottle there. I brought 2 of them with me to college and only needed one, so I thought I might as well use the extra for something. I also have a DIY jewelry dish, which is a blessing because it keeps my earrings from getting annoyingly tangled, and a carved elephant that one of my friends gifted me. I keep a bunch of pictures of my boyfriend on my corkboard to help lift my spirits a bit when college has got me down. The pictures also handily cover up that giant hole in the board. I don't really know how that got there. It's not just corkboard, it's also through the wood backing of the desk. Whoever punched the hole there must have had quite some strength. Anyways, they're not the best pictures of him because you can't really make out his face, but I don't have that many physical photos of him. The first time one of my friends saw those photos, they thought I was a huge fan of soccer. I really don't know anything about the sport, but he's been playing since he was like 5. There's also these sticky notes pinned up to the bulletin board, but honestly, they're mostly for display. I never really use them because they're too pretty. I need to stop hoarding pretty stationery. In the far corner of my desk, I keep one of my 3 teacups. Along with the faux plant hoarding problem, I also have a teacup collecting issue. There's only one of me, so it doesn't make sense for me to have 3 teacups, but couldn't help myself. I also have a glass cup there with all my pretty pens and pencils. Other than that, I usually keep my desk pretty empty. I find it hard to concentrate with too much clutter in my workspace, which is unfortunate because I'm generally a pretty messy person. As a result, I have to clean my dorm pretty regularly to prevent things from getting too wild. So yeah, that's my freshman year dorm. I'm not gonna lie, I'm pretty sad to be moving out soon. Moving in, I had a lot of apprehensions about living in such an old building, but I've grown to really love Balch and my dorm room. I think my first year in college has taught me a lot, and it's helped me realize I shouldn't be so anxious about life changes. A 92-year-old building did not appear ideal at first, but it's ended up being a perfect place to spend my first year of college.